All right, hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Preston here, and basically, this is gonna be my quick preview and prediction for the uh for the Jarrell Miller versus Kingsley Ibeh fight, and honestly, I'm definitely looking forward for this fight and stuff like that, and stuff like that for sure. And like I've been looking forward for all of these fights, because I'm just looking forward for boxing. I should just stop saying that, to be honest. But at the same time and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, this Jarrell Miller, and stuff like that. That boy is a big boy though, man. I ain't gonna lie though, man. Like that dude is a big boy. Like he probably walks around at like 330 pounds, like easily, bro. And excuse me, by the way, but and I'm just saying and stuff like that. Like he easily walks around at like fucking like at like 330, and shit like that, But like, but when it comes down to like when he has to make weight and stuff, he made it to 317. That's pretty good and shit like that. But I'm just saying, this boy walks around like just naturally as a big motherfucker, and shit like. But it's more of like swole. Like this nigga is like more like swole, and shit like that. You know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that, But then with Kingsley Ibeh and stuff like that, ever since the Jared Anderson fight, and stuff like that, you feel me? Like, ever since like the Jared Anderson fight and shit, like, he's been really like he's never lost a fight ever since that Jared Anderson fight, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that. Like this dude has never lost a fucking fight, since that time and shit, you know what I mean? So you gotta give credit to where it's due, you feel me, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that, so and yeah, and he knows how to generate power, and overall, and at the same time, you don't want to stand in the inside with Kingsley Ibeh and stuff like that, because I'm just saying, it's not like he won all of those fights for no reason and stuff, but at the same time, all those fights were against bums though. Like I'm like let's be for real, and stuff like that, like all of those fights were against bums, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that, but yeah, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But so this is gonna be his first fight fighting against somebody with actual experience, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that. This is gonna be his first time fighting somebody with actual experience, But but yeah, and shit like that, you know what I mean? But either way and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I think this is going to be a good fight. I think Kingsley Ibeh is going to show some that that people isn't going to like, I don't know. The fight's already on right now and stuff, but but I think that he's going to probably show some that, that people, that people don't know of, but you never know, because Jarrell Miller is still a good fight, and he drew in a really good fight against Andy Ruiz, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that, like he drew in the fight very well against Andy Ruiz and stuff, so that's the thing and stuff like that, so again, you got to give respect to where it's due and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that, so yeah, and stuff like that, but yeah, man, and stuff like that, it's just, you got to give respect to where it's due, for real, and stuff like that. I'm sorry if I'm pacing and shit, and stuff like that, I just do that. But yeah, and stuff like that, so you got to give respect to where it's due with both fighters and stuff, big bulky, big motherfuckers and shit like that, you know what I mean? And this is going to be an entertaining fight, and overall, I'm predicting a knockout in this fight, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that is the thing, I am predicting a knockout. But here we go and stuff like that, with who I think is going to win this fight. I would say in the early, like, if I'm guessing, it's gonna be another 10 rounder. So I'm gonna say that, the early rounds and stuff like that, you know what I mean, is gonna be I would say that, honestly, I'm gonna give the early rounds to Kingsley Ibeh. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna start off with that. I'm gonna give the early rounds to Kingsley Ibeh. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the thing. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be 2 rounds to 1 in favor of Kingsley Ibeh. I would say the mid rounds is going to be in favor of, I would say, Jarrell Miller. I think it makes sense if it favors Jarrell Miller, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I feel like that he is starting to, get his range, starting to land like his power shots, and starting to get used to Kingsley Ibeh and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I would say he wins all of the mid rounds in my opinion and stuff like that, and I would say in the later rounds and stuff like that, it's going to be hard for me not to pick Jarrell Miller, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing and stuff like that, but I'm going to say that, oh yeah, I did predict the knockout and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm going to say actually it's going to end in the mid rounds and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So I think actually when Jarrell Miller starts actually getting his success, that's when he actually gets Kingsley Ibeh out there, out of the ring and stuff like that, and knocks him out. I would say I'm gonna say a knockout, but yeah, and stuff like that. So I got Jarrell Miller by I'm gonna say a sixth round. I'm gonna say a sixth round knockout. I got Jarrell Miller by a sixth round knockout, and yeah. Thank y'all for watching this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm Preston. Peace out, man. Also, we're almost there to 100 subscribers, you know what I mean? So that's the thing and stuff like that, and overall and stuff like that, like I'm really, like I'm just saying, and stuff like that. We are this close, man, to 100 subscribers. So please, man, it's just, like the video, but most importantly, subscribe. Once we get to 100, man, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like that would mean a lot, man, because it's just, because I put a lot of effort into this. I mean, I had another YouTube channel that had a lot more subscribers, but it's just I couldn't find a way to, to getting into that, because I don't have the same, email and shit like that no more and shit, so either way and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, subscribe. Thank y'all for watching this video. Peace out, man. Let's go.